Hello and welcome to the video. In this video we'll be looking at a new Norwegian yeast company and their new range of Kveik yeast that is very special. This is very recently launched in Norway and is moving into Europe quickly, with markets like the US and beyond looking very likely in the future too. In this video we're looking at what makes this Kveik special, the company behind it and each Kveik type and what you can expect from it. So let's get started. I mentioned in the introduction that this Kveik is special, and it certainly is. Currently the Kveik yeast you obtain in sachets and brewery packs from other commercial yeast companies are Kveik isolates. This essentially means that one single strain from a Kveik yeast has been isolated, and that is what you are buying. However, Kveik as a yeast is multi-strain in its authentic form, and the extra strains provide extra features to the yeast mix that can include more flavours and aromas, as well as faster fermentation and faster conditioning. The bottom line here is that you will notice the differences, and they all provide advantage. It should also be mentioned that each of these Kveik mixes have been carefully selected by Norwegian Kveik experts to best represent each type. The company Kveik Yeastry is one that I have seen develop over years now with gradual updates, so you will understand why I am now excited to see that they are finally ready to launch Kveik in its real multi-strain form to reach brewers in many nations. The founders of Kveik Yeastry have had a long journey to get to this stage. They now have a fully functional modern production facility, and their yeast has already started to appear in stores in Norway and Europe. The drive behind this is quite simply that they felt that it was way past time that people from across the world could fully enjoy a Kveik in its authentic form, rather than build an incorrect impression from cut down versions that have appeared on Homebrew market over the last years. So when I put the text "From Norway with Love" on the opening screen of this video, it really was for a very good reason. Let's now take a much closer look with details at each of these three first Kveik mixes that are being released. Let's start with Voss, which just has to be the best known Kveik of all, and in its authentic form this yeast offers orange and citrus flavours and aromas. Like all of these Kveik mixes, this sachet contains all of the authentic strains, and sachets offer 5 grams of this yeast mix, which is the equivalent of 0.18 ounces. This Kveik is very well known to be a very universal yeast that sits well in many different types of beer styles. Voss Kveik ferments from 18 degrees Celsius all the way up to 41. The higher the temperature, the faster the fermentation, and the more intense the citrus character will be. On this basis, this Kveik has the potential of a low to medium level of flavour and aroma intensity. In general, for each of these Kveik mixes, these sachets are usually enough Kveik to ferment up to at least 25 litres, which is 6.6 US liquid gallons. The exceptions to the rule here would be if you are fermenting something at a low temperature or that has a very high ABV potential. This mix offers a high attenuation rate and up to a recommended ABV of 12%. The flocculation rate of Voss is classed as medium by Kveik Yeastry, but I have to say that my experience of using it so far points more towards a high flocculation. This yeast is also available in brewery packs, and the recommended pitching rate is 20 grams per hectolitre. Here is a look at the section of the datasheet for Voss. Here you can see on the left extra indicators of flavour and aroma, and the biological analysis too. I'm not going to linger on these, but feel free to pause the video or take a screenshot if you wish to study these more. Next up we have Stallien Kveik. This one dates back to the 1870s, and its name means stable in Norwegian. This name is believed to relate back to the old horse stable that is close to the farm that this mix originates from. Ironically, this stable has now been replaced by a brewery and pub. This Kveik mix is super versatile, and you can ferment a lot of different types of beers with it, including IPA, pale ales, stouts and porters, as well as seasonal beers and of course traditional farmhouse. The resulting flavour and aroma from this yeast has notes of apples and ripe fruit, and a hint of clove and anise. One very nice feature from this mix is that it also adds in a lager-like crispness that makes it extra popular. The fermentation temperature range starts at a mere 8 degrees Celsius, and this mix is happy all the way up to 38 degrees Celsius. The flavour and aroma intensity is medium to high at high fermentation temperatures, and at lower temperatures it will be less intense. If your recipe allows for a dry beer, then the clove and anise flavours really come through much more, so there is much to experiment with here. This Kveik mix offers a medium attenuation rate with high flocculation and an alcohol tolerance of 12% ABV. Brewery packs are available for this one too, and the recommended pitching weight is 20 grams per hectolitre. Here is a look at a section of the datasheet for Stallien, which as before will give you some indicators of flavour and aroma, and the microbiological analysis too. And here is Evergarden. This one has the taste and aroma of tropical fruit. Once again, this Kveik mix is suitable for a large range of beer styles, but in my opinion really excels at styles that benefit from the tropical fruit, like New England IPA or IPAs and pale ales in general. It should be mentioned that this Kveik is well known to drop the pH of your beer and thus enhances the perception of hop bitterness, so it is suggested that no bittering hop is used. If you get this wrong, then a great easy known way to fix it is to add up to 1 teaspoon of baking powder to your keg. This will increase the pH and fix that hop bitterness. Easy when you know how. Evergarden Kveik ferments ideally between 18 degrees Celsius and 41. The higher the temperature, the faster the fermentation and the more intense the tropical aroma and flavour is. This Kveik mix enjoys a high attenuation with a medium flocculation as well as medium flavour and aroma intensity. It also has an alcohol tolerance of 12% ABV and is available in brewery packs with 20 gram per hectolitre of recommended pitching rate. Once again, here is a look at a section of the datasheet for Evergarden, which as before will give you some indicators for flavour and aroma and the biological analysis too. So as you have seen, these are all very functional and potentially flavourful Kveik mixes, depending on fermentation temperature. As with native farm Kveik, they all enjoy a low pitching rate, which is how native Kveik yeast thrives. Unlike native farm Kveik though, these mixes have been nicely cleaned up, as you can see in the microbiological analysis for each, which makes them not only ideal for homebrewers but for breweries too. Naturally, having 3 multi-strain Kveik mixes appear in dry form this year is naturally amazing news for homebrewers and breweries alike, but the good news does not end there. Let's now look at the plan for 2023. It has to be said that Kveik Yeastry has a very active plan for this coming year. At the time of making this video, they are very close to the launch of brewery packs for each of these 3 launch Kveik mixes. Then over the coming months of 2023, more Kveik multistrain mixes will be added in both 5 gram and brewery packs. The goal is to have between 6 to 8 in the range for this year. Stay tuned to this channel for full details of these as they are released, and please let Kveik Yeastry and myself know which Kveik mixes you would like to see added to the range via the comment section of this video. If you are new to Kveik and are curious about other mixes, then I suggest heading over to the website shown on screen now. Here you can find full details relating to each of the 69 known Kveik mixes. This list is an amazing collection of information that not only gives you a great deal of fermentation specific data, but also often some interesting history too. You might be new to Kveik, but there are mixes out there that have a history dating back to the Dark Ages. You will also find a great deal of other past Kveik content on my channel to keep you busy too. I do hope that you found this video useful, informative and interesting. If so, why not consider liking and subscribing? For further support, you can join the channel's Facebook group, and if you would like to support the channel, then check out the channel's merchandise store, as all profits go back into the channel. Until next time, happy brewing!